Well, good morning, everybody. John Bergsman here from the Great Lakes Fisherman's Digest with Tim Long from Timbers Resort on beautiful Lake Gogebic in the western UP. And as you can see from our offshore board that had been marching like a little soldier in a row, it's fallen back. We're here for some lake trolling here on Lake Gogebic. Stay tuned, you're going to like this show. Got some weight. Jack your speed and go up there, Tim. Don't worry about me. I'll adjust with my reeling in. We've come up on a structure right when we get a bite, which is not the optimum thing to do, but...
You still got them?
Oh yeah, of course. I'm a tournament fisherman.
We there?
Oh yeah. I'm slow.
Okay, yeah, you're adjusting to me.
I'm adjusting to the circumstance.
Nice fish.
Real nice. Now that's what we're searching for.
And nice release right at the net.
Oh my goodness.
I'll get the boat under control.
Let me show you this. Like our entire fishing trip, we're under massive cold front conditions, but this is exactly what we came for. Beautiful Lake Gogebic walleye. We're here in the western basin of the Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Out here today with Tim Long, like we said, and we've made a long pass. We're under severe cold front. It's been this way with east winds for what, 3-4 days now, Tim?
5 days at least.
5 days in a row. But what we think and what we're going to work on all day long is just simple crankbait presentations that can cover a lot of water. And we're running little number 5 Berkeley flicker shads, and 4s are good too. And we're going to keep a few of these. We encourage everybody when they come to this lake to go ahead and keep some smaller fish, but to practice selective harvest, to release those bigger fish. This is a sensitive fishery. We got a lot of clicking going on, but that's because I got to fish before I could even set my stuff up. I mean, that didn't take long.
No. Nice.
Well, we got in the right depth.
Boy, and did you see that board barely went back?
I know.
I want to stay in that 7 to 8 feet of water.
Yeah.
That's where the weed growth is just starting to come up, back up. Just.
Oh, it's a big perch. Whoa, guys, you're going to want to see this perch.
There's your Lake Gogebic perch.
Wow.
Nice.
I'm actually glad we caught one of these to show to people.
Beautiful.
This is exactly what Lake Gogebic for years has been known for, not just walleye, right, Tim?
Absolutely.
These perch. Well, explain what makes them so big here.
You know, I don't know exactly what that is, but they feed on wigglers, and this lake is just full of wigglers.
Beautiful, but we'll take these perch all day long.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Fisherman's Digest is brought to you by Crestliner, forged with strength, defined by durability. Strike King Lures, tie one on. Mercury Marine, go boldly.
Perfect. Well, that's a keeper finally.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring them over the top. I'm only 14
we have
feet.
plenty. I believe we're maybe too deep.
Waist.
Hoist. Nice fish. Well, this was the result of adjusting. What we're thinking is that the water here is behind, right?
It's way behind.
Yep, and so we're talking really cold water temperature. So we went to some black bottom, a bay, with some scattered weeds, and Tim shortened it up. That was a flicker minnow, what, 14
14 feet behind the board.
and a keeper fish. And we had caught just nursery fish after nursery fish at the other spot, deeper. So we may be on to something. We're gonna keep on giving this a whirl. You know, when you fish here in the spring, one of the things you gotta pay attention to, which Tim's touched on, is shallow water, newly emergent weed. You know, that was the key for today's segment in the spring, was being able to get up in that 8, 9, 10 foot of water to locate and find that newly growing weed, and to try to find the weed that was 1 foot to 2 foot off the bottom. That was the best stuff. It had enough there to be able to hold the minnows and the perch and all the other species that are left from last year, and then the big predator fish, the bass and the walleye, come in and feed on them. They really key in on these shallow growing weeds in the spring of the year. They're probably the best physical structure in the lake until the bigger weed beds grow up. So when you're trolling springtime, pay attention to when you're in that right depth of water, which on this lake in the spring, 8, 9, 10 foot of water, and you want a little bit of weed growth like we saw in our graph today. We got four walleye and a tremendous perch in there, so we're starting to put a little bit of a pattern in. Early season trolling can be a grind, but if you get in a good body of water and you get a good presentation, and once you catch a few fish, it's really just about putting your time in.
Here she comes. Nice fish.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Beautiful fish. That's just a beautiful fish. So explain that regulation.
Well, a couple of years ago, we were in a situation where I would be going out catching 100, 150 fish in a day, and only one would be of legal size. 1 to 10% of the fish in the system were of legal size at that time. We changed the legislation on November 6th that year, which allowed us to keep 2 fish in that 13 to 15 inch range, and then the other 3 fish have to be over 15. Now what that did is it allowed the rest of those fish to have a better forage base, and they did grow in a very short period of time.
Right.
So now last year, I would say that 85% of all the walleyes that I caught last year were over 15.
Beautiful.
So I mean, it's working.
Right.
And
by taking a number of the smaller, those ones that everybody goes, oh shoot, it's a half an inch short again.
Right.
Go ahead and keep a limited number of those so that you get them out of the system and there's more bait for the ones that are left.
Correct. And it allows our tourism customer to come to Lake Gogebic and have a fish fry at the end of the week.
Exactly.
The Fisherman's Digest is brought to you by Offshore Tackle, leaders in trolling technology. Trax Tech, the ultimate fishing system.
yeah.
When you're fishing for midsummer walleye in an inland lake, Tim, any fish is a good fish because so many people struggle with this presentation. And
Oh yeah, he's getting heavy.
yeah, I know. He's trimming straight down, which is a good thing.
20.
Yep. And this midsummer, yep, nice keeper fish. You know, what we're doing here this morning is we're just trying to establish a pattern for today. Tim last week bumped into some of these fish. We're late summer here in Gogebic. That's go time for these trolling walleyes. You know, they start to go as the water warms up and stabilizes, and you kind of get some stability in the water for temperature. We're just running a simple crankbait pattern, and we got a little storm coming later this afternoon, so we may take a break and come out tonight. But Tim, show that off. That is a beauty.
And one of the dominant color patterns here today is this purple flash, they call it. So you got the chrome with the purple back and an orange belly, and that's been one of our better baits out here over the last week or so. And one of the things that we do, you know, we have our board set out there. When that fish hits, board starts to slide back, I like to spin the handles on that reel, get that rod tip loaded up, get that board loaded up in the water. Then I remove the rod from the rod holder, keeping pressure on that fish at all times. If you get them in the corner of the mouth, you got just a thin layer of skin there. Kind of will rip that skin and put a pretty decent sized hole in there. So you have to maintain pressure on that fish to land that fish. Staying down, nice.
Yeah.
Nice fish.
Oh, now look at this. Now another gorgeous, gorgeous Gogebic walleye. And these are mudfish today because we're later in the summer, and these fish are now just suspended. And Chase, if you can show them the bottom, what we're looking for on our Lowrance is that right there. We've got fish just tight to the bottom, and then you'll get these fish that rise up. We're catching the ones that are rising up, but you're looking for a bottom. See that right there? You're looking, that's basically the fish that's holding in neutral. But what you've got on that screen, and here's a great example right there, where that's a fish that we're able to catch. And there's the fish that's feeding into that school. And when they rise up, that's when they become susceptible to us. We're running our baits maybe 13, 14 down today. Well, our system fishing segment on this week's show has to do with pretty much everything. You know, when you're trolling, you have to have pre-thought out how you're going to set your boat up in order to be effective. So we've got our Crestliner 2050 Authority, which is a great 21-foot platform for the big cottage lake or the Great Lakes application. Of course, we got our Mercury 225, which reliably gets us to the spot, and our kicker if we were using it. Today we're using our electric power, our Motor Guide XI5, because we really want to zone in the speed. Now I'm using my foot throttle right here, because I got an infinite speed control, and I want to hit that 1.7 to 1.8 right on the nose. That's what these fish are really being consistently caught at. The other part of our system is our Trax trees, and of course our equipment tool. This is a down rod, a Dipsy rod holder that I'm using today to be able to spread our lines out. Of course, our equipment holder and our offshore tackle inline trolling boards. That's the system fishing that we're employing today, and that's pretty much the standard fare for anybody who does a lot of trolling. Now we're using the offshore boards to spread our lines wide, and then we're using the line counter reels to send them out to different, 80, 90, 100, 110 to give us just a little bit of different depth dive so that we can really zero in on these fish. So our system fishing is employing all of the elements that you're going to think about purchasing when you buy your boat. Not just the boat and the engine, but your electric trolling motor, having that ability to take control of your boat and go at a precise speed. Your Lowrance graph with its mapping capabilities to be able to find the types of structure you're looking for, and also being able to see whether, hey, is there fish in this area or not? So system fishing, before you buy your boat, thinking about the equipment that you need to fish all the different ways that you like to fish will help you have a better experience because you've thought out, what do I want? What size do I need? How do I fish? That's system fishing.
One of the really cool things about Lake Gogebic is that the light pressure that it gets during the open water season. There's, you know, it's the largest lake in the UP. It's 18 miles long, 3 miles wide at its widest point. We're out here, it's 14,000 acres. We're out here, and granted, a large lake like this can suck up a lot of boats, but there is nobody out here. Here on Lake Gogebic, we have 7 different resorts on the lake, and they're all a little different and unique in their own way. The Timbers Resort it's a hunting and fishing resort. We really cater to the sportsmen. We don't have a bar or restaurant on the property, but we do have a couple community bonfires, one down by the lake, one up towards the cabins, and it's just a really mellow, homey feeling that you get at the Timbers Resort.
What you know. Oh, beautiful, Tim. I'll tell you what, if we could film in the rain, we would, but filming in the rain usually doesn't work too good. After this front passes through, it looks like only a couple hours on the radar, and we'll be back out here tonight. One of the good things about staying on the lake at a family-owned resort like Timbers, boom, you get a little rain squall, it's not the end of the world. You pull your lines, you go in, you've got a beautiful little cabin there, you make yourself some food, cup of coffee, rest up a little bit. When the rain quits, right back out on the water. I love that family resort for that reason. That lakeside resort is the ticket when it comes to staying on these fishing lakes where the primary thing that you're gonna do is fish. You can't beat a resort that's right on the water.
Got him on.
Outside board too, I think maybe.
No, that one's been hanging.
Go ahead, Tim, you got him?
Yeah, do you want to take this inside one?
Nope, you take it.
And get it out of the way?
You bet.
There's some weight on this fish.
I know.
It might be. It might not be a walleye. It might be a. Look at that.
We'll take it. We'll take whatever. You know, one of the most important things that I do when I go to an area and shoot a show is I verify first that this is a legitimate world-class fishery that is going to make my viewers happy if they show up. You know, Lake Gogebic in the Western Upper Peninsula is a lake that has been an absolute fixture for fishermen in this region for decades. If you want to come to a lake and really expect just a really, really good ratio of game fish to junk fish, if you notice, and we didn't edit it out, we never caught one fish on this entire trip that I would call a junk fish. But this is a game fish lake. You're not going to fight with sheephead and white bass and all the other stuff that sometimes you get when you go to a bigger body of water.
Nice fish.
Yes, sirree, baby. Beautiful keeper walleye here on Lake Gogebic. And on our little spring segment earlier in the show, you know, we caught 5 really nice walleyes, same thing, nice keeper size fish. So it really doesn't matter. You have to come to Gogebic when it works for you, because there's always a pattern. If you're flexible and you understand walleye fishing, there's always a pattern to put you on fish. Off to give another sportsman a fighting chance to have a good time. I love the serenity, Tim, of just being up here.
Yeah.
And catching walleyes on a gorgeous lake, on a beautiful night, being with friends.
Another beauty.
Look at this lake, Gogebic. Ah, yeah. What a way to end the night. Are you kidding me, Tim? We just said, I'll bet you that lure, wouldn't it be hysterical if that lure, you know, if you're looking for an amazing place to come and fish, let's let this little girl go here.
Right down.
Lake Gogebic. It is way in the western side of the Upper Peninsula, almost basically to Wisconsin. It is 14,000 acres of paradise, Tim, right?
Well, that's beautiful.
I mean, smallmouth bass at
Trophy
times,
smallmouth bass.
really nice, underrated smallmouth bass fishery, a phenomenally consistent walleye fishery for just what you've seen today and tonight. Lake Gogebic, the western Upper Peninsula, you've got to try it out. You've got to put it on your your list of places to come and experience this. We'll see you next week.